traffic signals in town. Drivers will see one-way alternating traffic at the location at least through fall of 2026. They'll reduce the speed limit through there to 25 miles per hour as well. The temporary changes will keep people moving while crews begin the process of excavating the entire highway for a fish barrier removal project there. Crews will build a 175-foot-long girder bridge to replace an outdated culvert under the highway. The Washington State Patrol's memorial service for fallen trooper Christopher Gadd is happening today. The event at the Angel of the Winds Arena in Everett. The service is open to the public with a ceremonial procession preceding that memorial. It is tentatively scheduled to start at 11 a.m. Doors into the arena will not open to the public until noon, and that ceremony expected to start about 1 this afternoon. Gadd was struck and killed by a suspected DUI driver on I-5 in Marysville on March 2nd. Probable cause documents said the man accused, Raul Santana, had bloodshot eyes and admitted to drinking and smoking marijuana before driving. Gadd had been with the Washington State Patrol for 2.5 years. More news after this.
End-of-life decisions are hard. Be it pre-planning or sudden loss, you need to have an advocate in your corner, which is why I wholeheartedly recommend Drennan & Ford Funeral Home and Crematory in Port Angeles, the only locally owned funeral home and crematory in Clallam County. Their expertise ensures a smooth process so you can focus on healing and being with your loved ones. Their help through the darkest time in my life will forever stay with me. Call 360-457-1210.
March is definitely on the top of my list when it comes to months of the year. This is Dale from Wilder Auto, and not only is spring springing, but there's a huge college basketball tournament to look forward to. With all our great products, great people, and great prices, shop Wilder Auto and you'll find out why we're a number 1 seed. So get in the game today and let us share our passion for the Wilder advantage with you. Or check us out 24/7 at wilderauto.com.
Attention all moms-to-be. North Olympic Healthcare Network's board-certified physicians specializing in family medicine with obstetrics are here to guide and support you on your pregnancy journey. We provide personalized, compassionate care focused on building a long-lasting relationship before, during, and after pregnancy. From pre-pregnancy planning to childbirth to primary care for your whole family, we're with you for the journey. To learn more, visit nohn-pa.org/obstetrics.
In other news, westbound I-90 closed near North Bend last night due to a massive RV fire and exploding ammunition. Eastside Fire and Rescue wrote on X, formerly Twitter, about 8:30 last night that the fire was reported at an RV on the westbound side of the highway. Fire crews are keeping a distance because ammunition is exploding. It's unclear what actually caused the fire. Fire crews did not specify what kind of ammo was actually exploding. The RV was unoccupied and no one was injured. A Chehalis Youth Detention employee has been arrested and is accused of conspiring to commit a prison riot. The woman is currently being held at the Lewis County Jail, roughly a mile from the Green Hill School, a youth detention facility run by the Department of Children, Youth, and Families for the state where she worked. Few details of her arrest have been made publicly available, but a spokesperson for DCYF confirmed that they were aware that their employee had been arrested. Her arrest is the latest in a growing number of blunders from inside Green Hill that have become public knowledge. Earlier this year, Fox 13 TV reported on 2 separate investigations into other employees. One was caught on camera dropping drugs into the facility, while a second brought weed-infused gummy candy into the facility before placing it in a locker that inmates have access to. As a growing number of renters in Washington face eviction, the state will soon fund more attorneys to help tenants at risk of losing their homes. When updating the state's 2-year budget last week, lawmakers approved about $3 million in additional funding for the Office of Civil Legal Aid's Right to Counsel program, which guarantees low-income tenants the right to an attorney as they navigate the eviction process in court. The funding will allow the office to hire 10 more attorneys, reaching a total of 80 statewide. They'll handle cases across Washington, particularly, though, in the corners of the state with the highest eviction numbers, the Seattle area, Clark County, and Spokane County. A 74-year-old Mercer Island man who went missing over 2 weeks ago was found killed in Grays Harbor County, about 100 miles from where he had been last seen. 74-year-old Curtis England had been missing since February 24th when his roommate filed a report with the Mercer Island Police Department. The roommate stated that he had been acting unusual, according to police reports. Anglin was later found dead of a sharp force injury to the neck in Cosmopolis. The King County Medical Examiner's Office, the agency that confirmed his homicide, did not know where or when he was killed. A Washington State Ferries crew Saturday helped the Coast Guard rescue 6 people and 2 dogs from a boat in Rosario Strait in the San Juan Islands. A 37-foot cabin cruiser called for assistance during nasty weather near Decatur Island about 1 p.m. A wave over the bow shattered that boat's windshield, injuring some of the boaters and caused the vessel to take on water. The boaters were able to share their GPS position before their radio shorted out and they lost communications. The Coast Guard issued an urgent marine broadcast message for all boaters in the area, and before the Coast Guard got there, the Washington State ferry Samish responded and launched its rescue boat. 4 boaters were taken on board the ferry, and the ferry used its size to shield the damaged boat from the wind and waves until it could get under tow. An avalanche forecaster died in a snowslide he triggered while skiing in eastern Washington this past week. 37-year-old Nick Burks and a friend, both experienced in carrying avalanche airbags and beacons, were backcountry skiing the chute on Gunsight Mountain. That was last Wednesday near Anthony Lakes Mountain Resort. His friend skied down first and watched as the avalanche was triggered and overtook Burks. The companion was able to locate Burks by turning on his transceiver. People at the ski lodge saw the avalanche happen and immediately told first responders. The agency said in a statement on Facebook the bystanders were performing CPR on Burks as deputies, firefighters, and search and rescue crews got there, but the efforts to revive him were unsuccessful. This is Newsradio KONP.
Bathfitter does showers? That's right. We offer a wide selection of beautiful and functional showers. We can even convert your bath into a shower. With our seamless one-piece walls and hundreds of design options, you'll get a beautiful new shower guaranteed for life. Bathfitter's been around for 40 years, and we've been experts at showers for just as long. Bathfitter, it just fits.
Right now at Bathfitter Northwest, we pay your sales tax. Just call 800-NEW-BATH. OAC, see store for details.
If it's time for new asphalt paving for your dirt, gravel, or damaged driveway, now's the time to call Lakeside Industries for a free estimate. They've been serving this community since 1982 with city, county, and highway projects, of course. But did you know that they do residential and commercial grading, paving, and stormwater too? Well, they're scheduling spring and summer jobs right now, and no job is too small. Just call Lakeside Industries 452-7803 or lakesideindustries.com.
If you want to see an animal that's right up close to you, Olympic Game Farm is the place. You'll find this ain't no zoo. See the bears that are actors and buffalo as big as tractors at the Olympic Game Farm in Squim.
Here's your News Radio KONP forecast. Chance of rain showers this afternoon. Otherwise, cloudy skies with a few peaks of sun. Highs level off around 48. Winds out of the west, 8 to 15 miles per hour. Slight chance of rain showers tonight. Lows dip down to about 36. Partly cloudy skies. Daytime highs approaching 48. Tomorrow, overcast skies. I'm weatherology meteorologist Paul Trombley. Currently, it's 48 degrees.
From ABC Sports, this is Rich Cantu. Pre-NFL draft day moves continued last night with the Giants acquiring pass rusher Brian Burns from the Panthers and signing him to a 5-year, $150 million deal. The Bengals cut ties with running back Joe Mixon and signed Zach Moss, formerly of the Colts, to a 2-year, $8 million contract. March Madness has begun with a few teams punching their ticket to the big dance.
3, 2, 1. The Dukes win! JMU is the top dog in the Sun Belt Conference.
The call on JMU radio network. James Madison is tournament bound for the first time since 2013. Also heading there will be Samford, which won its first SoCon tournament championship in program history. In the top 25, 19th ranked Gonzaga beat San Francisco 89-77, and number 21 St. Mary's defeated Santa Clara 79-65. To the NBA, the association best Celtics crushed the Blazers in Portland, 121-99. The Suns in Cleveland tangling with the Cavs, fourth quarter.
He drives into the paint, then feeds Durant. He's open for three left wing, and he got another one.
The call on KMVP, Kevin Durant extending the Phoenix lead to 6. He led all scorers with 37 points, lifting Phoenix over the Cavs, 117-111. Nikola Jokic added a triple-double, 35, 17, and 12, as the Nuggets rallied to beat the Raptors, 125-119. Also logging a triple-double, Luka Doncic is 27, 12, and 14 in the Mavs' 127-92 drubbing of the Bulls. Mavs coach Jason Kidd.
It's about winning to him. When he does retire, he'll look back to see, the game that he was playing was at a different level than anybody else.
NHL, Rangers beat the Devils 3-1. The Blues skated by the Bruins 5-1. This is Rich Cantu, ABC's.
In local sports, if you've got some cabin fever and you're a sports fan, there's plenty of high school athletic events today to entertain the masses. In baseball action, the Squim Wolves, who beat Forks 13-3 yesterday, will travel to Bainbridge, a first pitch there at 4:15. The Port Angeles Rough Riders, coming off their 13-8 win over Seaholm this past weekend, travel to Bremerton for a 4:15 first pitch. The Squim Wolves fast pitch team opens the season today. They will host Forks at 4:15. The always colorful skipper of the Wolves, Mike McFarland, has a major rebuild after losing a large group of outstanding multi-sport stars. However, the cupboard not entirely bare. The Wolves return the talented and athletic Taylor Rome. Rome rumored to take over shortstop for all-world Hannah Bates, who's moved on. Rome is one of the top 5 players in the Olympic League, and if the Wolves can develop enough solid pitching, no reason they can't compete for a district playoff spot this year. In high school soccer action tonight, the Rough Riders host Kingston, and the Wolves travel to North Mason, both contests at 6:45 kickoffs. And in high school golf, the Rough Riders host Kingston, and the Wolves are at North Mason with tee times at 3. Tonight here on KONP, the Kraken back in action. They take on the Vegas Golden Knights. We'll take the air at 6:30.
Teachers are dynamic leaders, shaping a new generation. They bring a variety of perspectives from diverse backgrounds, innovating how they teach to prepare students for our fast-changing world. Achieving this takes skill and expertise. They're tireless explorers, creatively discovering a universe of solutions, telling stories, experimenting, inspiring, mentoring, connecting cultures, and connecting with each other. Leading by example. Experience the unique joy of helping students thrive. Teaching is a journey that shapes lives. Are you ready to begin? Explore teaching at teach.org, a campaign supported by the U.S. Department of Education, Teach.org, and 1 million teachers of color.
It's 20 minutes after 12 o'clock now.
Newsradio KONP Business. This is a Bloomberg Money Minute. Scholastic is seeking to expand its audience beyond the school book fair. The children's book publisher is buying 9 Story Media Group, which includes the animation studio behind Daniel Tiger's Neighborhood and Doc McStuffins. The two companies already work together. One project was a reboot of Clifford the Big Red Dog. Scholastic wants to turn more of its books into TV shows. The S&P is currently in record territory, and we're seeing sizable gains across the averages thanks to the return of the AI stock rally. Stocks are up between 0.75% and 1%. Oracle is one of the key gainers that's lifting the markets. The software company is reporting a 25% spike in cloud revenue and teasing some kind of partnership with AI chipmaker NVIDIA to be announced next week. Oracle shares today are up 12%. I'm Nancy Lyons, Bloomberg Radio.
Let's check the traffic and roads next. Brought to you this time out by Angela's Furniture and Leeds Farm Supply.
It's the sale we wait for all year long, the annual Customer Appreciation Sale at Angela's Furniture. And there aren't enough minutes of airtime to list all of the incredible deals. You'll see huge price cuts on Stanton sofas, Lazy Boy recliners, America dining sets, Flex Steel sofas, and Sunny Designs accessory tables and consoles, just to name a few. Stop by, browse, and enter to win our drawing for $500, $1,000 or $2,000 in-store credit. Angelus Furniture's Customer Appreciation Sale, going on all month long.
The premium compact powerhouse is here. The new MT225S from LS Tractor. 25 horsepower, 2-pedal hydrostatic transmission, and a highly featured operator platform. Now available with dealer-installed cab. All backed by the legendary LS Tractor warranty. Demo the new MT225S at your local dealer today.
Find the perfect LS tractor for you at Leitz Farm Supply in Squim. Locally owned and operated, call Leitz at 360-452-1400.
LS Tractor, simply more.
Newsradio KONP, Traffic and Roads.
Up to Clallam Transit Dispatch Center now. That's where Steve's standing by with an eye on the noontime road and traffic conditions for us. Good afternoon, Steve.
Hi there. Hey, good afternoon, everybody. Busy day out there. Lunchtime traffic, a lot of it out there right now, rolling around town, both Port Angeles and the Squim area. Moving along fairly well, a little slow in places, especially east end of Port Angeles or along Washington Street, especially around 5th and those areas, just a little bit on the busy side today. If you're headed on the highway between the two cities, 101 is in good shape, really no problems there. Traffic is busy, but moving along at the speed limit. Currently beyond Squim, the highway's in good shape all the way out. Hood Canal Bridge good to go with no scheduled marine openings. Also state ferries running on time today. If you're headed out to the west end, 101 is in good shape all the way out to the Forks area. Just light to moderate traffic right now, especially leaving Port Angeles and out towards the Lake Crescent area, fairly busy. But it is moving along at the speed limit with no real problems out there. So everybody take care. Enjoy your afternoon. This is Steve reporting live from Clallam Transit for KONP.
Hey, thanks, Steve. We'll get another update from you about a half hour from now. Do join us next hour on the Todd Ortloff Show. The first part of the program, we're going to be talking about Clallam 2 fire rescues. Going to be going to voters, asking for a levy lid lift and approval of an EMS levy. We're going to talk about that with Fire Chief Jake Patterson. And in the second part of the program, Clallam County Sheriff Brian King will be joining us as we're going to talk a bit about what happened out of the last legislative session as opposed to public safety. We'll chat about some funding issues there that happened and some that didn't. That's all next hour on the Todd Ortloff Show here on KONP.
A Better Life with Dr. Sanjay Gupta.
Travel constipation is something that happens to most of us, even to people who don't typically have digestive issues. Addressing the problem typically requires a multi-pronged approach, since constipation in general is a multi-system problem. So first of all, let's talk about your circadian rhythm. I'm willing to bet there's a certain time of day you normally go, so if you're in a different time zone, that could present a challenge. Being sedentary on a long road trip or a flight, or once you reach your destination, can bring your digestive system to a standstill. And obviously, don't forget about your diet. Most people eat and drink way differently when they're away from home. New food, fast food, less water, more alcohol, all of that can throw you off. So stay hydrated. And if all else fails, eat some high-fiber fruits like kiwis, mangoes, or prunes. That obviously will help get things moving again. I'm Dr. Sanjay Gupta, helping you live a better life.
Imagine getting ahead of your irritable bowel syndrome with constipation or IBS-C by treating it with Linzess. Then you could start proactively managing your constipation with belly pain and get ahead of your symptoms. Talk to your doctor about Linzess, linaclotide. Linzess is a prescription medicine that treats IBS-C in adults. It's not a laxative. It's a once-daily pill that helps you get ahead of your symptoms. It's proven to help you have more frequent and complete bowel movements and helps relieve overall abdominal symptoms, belly pain, discomfort, and bloating. These symptoms were studied in combination, not individually.
Do not give Linzess to children less than 2. It may harm them. Do not take Linzess if you have a bowel blockage. Get immediate help if you develop unusual or severe stomach pain, especially with bloody or black stools. The most common side effect is diarrhea, sometimes severe. If it's severe, stop taking Linzess and call your doctor right away. Other side effects include gas, stomach area pain, and swelling.
Imagine, what could relief from IBS-C mean for you? Talk to your doctor and say yes to Linzess. Learn more at linzess.com or call 1-800-LINZESS.
Hello, I'm Jerry Stewart, and this is One Moment in America. Ever heard the word conundrum? We seem to have quite a number of conundrums in America today. I'll tell you one after this important message. Hello, Jerry Stewart here. Recently, as I spoke to a group of 6th graders about our America and the stories of We the People, to my surprise, one young boy did not understand just who we the people are. For a moment, I was puzzled. He does not know who we the people are? Then it hit me. Why would he know? We hardly even talk these days about our great America and the great part played by we the people and God to give us our greatness. Do your children know the stories of America, our real greatness as a nation, as a people? Go to my website now at jerrystewartusa.com or call 817-995-6965 and look at real, true story lessons written by me to teach our children about the virtues we must teach them now. 10 lessons for just $35 delivered right to your computer. Let's save America. Call now. A conundrum is defined as a riddle or a puzzle which makes no sense. Want an example? How is it that our U.S. Congress prays every day to God for His special guidance, but prayer is forbidden in our public schools? If Congress truly believes that prayer is vital for the success of their task, why don't they also believe that prayer is vital for the success of our children in our public schools? Makes no sense to me. One more thing. When prayer was taken out of our schools became the devil's playground, and there is no power there now to resist him. A true conundrum. I'm Jerry Stewart, and that was One Moment in America.
For the Washington State News Network, I'm Rob Francis. Washington State's presidential primary is today, and voters have a chance to choose their party's presidential nominee. Ballots must be dropped at an official drop-box location by 8 p.m., or if mailed, have a post date of no later than today. Voters must mark their party affiliation on the ballot's return envelope. The Republican ticket includes former President Donald Trump along with 4 other candidates. The Democrat ticket includes President Joe Biden and 2 other candidates. Senator Jeff Wilson got $1.5 million of the Senate budget to combat salmon-eating sea lions on the lower Columbia River and its tributaries.
This effort to put some common sense and to utilize a permit that has already been granted to begin to help to control the overwhelming population of predators.
The Longview Republican was told House Democrats removed the negotiated funds from the final spending plan because they couldn't bear the thought of euthanizing sea lions. It's estimated that at least 12% of the river system's salmon runs are lost to predation. And Boeing facing new troubles following an incident that left dozens of people injured in Australia. Ludum Airlines is investigating after one of its Boeing 787s dropped abruptly mid-flight from Sydney to Auckland on Monday. At least 50 people were hurt, with more than a dozen being taken to a hospital. One person is in serious condition. Passengers say some people were thrown from their seats and hit their heads on the roof of the plane. For more on these stories and others, download the WSNN mobile app. You can also visit our website, WashingtonStateNews.net.
If you're a contractor, it's now easier for you to do business with the Department of Labor and Industries. Go to lni.wa.gov/skip the line and make an appointment with us ahead of time. No waiting around, no wasted time away from your job site. You get in, get out, and get on your way. Easy. So contractors, just go to lni.wa.gov/skip the line to make an appointment and get back to doing what you do best.
The possibility of lung cancer can be pretty scary, especially if you're one of approximately 8 million current or former smokers at high risk. That's why SaveByTheScan.org wants you to know that now there's a breakthrough low-dose CT scan that can detect lung cancer early, and it only takes 60 seconds. You stop smoking, now start screening. For an easy quiz to see if you're eligible, visit SaveByTheScan.org. It could save your life. SaveByTheScan.org is brought to you by the American Lung Association's Lung Force Initiative and the Ad Council.
Breaking news this hour from townhall.com. I'm John Scott. Robert Hur, the special counsel in the Biden classified documents case, is testifying on Capitol Hill. House Judiciary Committee Chairman, Republican Jim Jordan.
Mr. Hur produced a 345-page report, but in the end, it boils down to a few key facts. Joe Biden kept classified information. Joe Biden failed to properly secure classified information. And Joe Biden shared classified information with people he wasn't supposed to.
In his testimony before the committee, special counsel Hur stood steadfastly by his 345-page report that questions Biden's age and mental competence, but recommended no criminal charges. Also at townhall.com, consumer prices in the United States picked up last month.
Prices rose 0.4% from January to February, a pickup from the previous month's figure of 0.3%. Compared with 12 months earlier, consumer prices rose 3.2% last month, faster than January's 3.1% annual pace. It's a sign that inflation remains a persistent challenge for the Federal Reserve and for President Biden's re-election campaign, both of which are counting on a steady easing of price pressures this year.
Correspondent Jeremy House. Excluding volatile food and energy prices, so-called core prices also climbing 0.4% from January to February, matching the previous month's increase and at a faster pace that is consistent with the Fed's 2% target. Authorities in western Illinois say 5 people, including 3 children, have been killed after a school bus and semi-truck collided on a highway. The bus was traveling eastbound on Illinois Route 24 on Monday when it crossed the center line into the westbound lanes. On Wall Street, the Dow is ahead 272 points, the Nasdaq adding 217. More at townhall.com.
The new FedNow system is paving the way for the digital dollar. It grants the government unprecedented access to your financial transactions. This isn't just an invasion of privacy, it's a direct assault on your liberty and hard-earned money. It's another reason why I recommend physical gold IRAs from the Birch Gold Group. I'm Lance Wallnow. I'm a news analyst and a podcaster with nearly 25 million downloads to people just like you who cherish their financial independence. A precious metals IRA can help you avoid the scrutiny of Big Brother while also preserving your retirement savings through almost anything, including economic crashes, political instability, and even hyperinflation. To find out more, get your free info kit on gold IRAs by texting the word FAITH to 989898. Birch Gold Group is the only gold company I trust. Get their free info kit and see how a gold IRA can help you. Text FAITH to 989898. And remember, there's no strings attached. Text FAITH to the number 989898 right now, and I pray you're blessed with continued prosperity.
A bipartisan group of lawmakers closing in on the required number of votes needed to pass federal legislation that requires AM radios in every new car. The prevalence of AM broadcast radio has dipped in recent decades as more listeners turn to options such as satellite radio and podcasts.
Politicians are trying to pass a federal law that requires AM radios to be included in every new car. They say it's critical to public safety. The proposed law, called the AM for Every Vehicle Act, was proposed in Congress last year, but in recent weeks it's found a new wave of co-sponsors. Now there are enough co-sponsors to pass the bill in the House, and the Senate only needs a few more sponsors as well. If passed, the Department of Transportation would require all new motor vehicles to have devices that can access AM broadcast stations. It applies to vehicles manufactured in the U.S., imported into the country, or shipped in interstate commerce. I'm Haya Panjwani.
Breaking news and analysis at townhall.com. Murder and a scam in Connecticut.
Prosecutors say a 76-year-old woman accused of killing her husband, hiding his body, and collecting his paychecks now has pleaded guilty to manslaughter. Linda Kasuda Bagazi was arrested in February of 2018 in the death of her husband, Dr. Perlugi Bagazi, a pathology professor at UConn Health. Investigators believe he died in July 2017, and his checks were deposited in the couple's joint checking account. Jason Walker reporting.
4 astronauts from 4 countries back on Earth after catching a ride from the ISS with SpaceX. The capsule parachuted into the Gulf of Mexico near the Florida Panhandle early Tuesday. The 4 moved into the space station last August on what turned out to be a 190-day mission. The replacements arrived just last week. More on these stories at townhall.com. I'm John Scott.
This is the Newsradio KONP Noon Report.
Todd Ord live from the KONP News Center. Here's a look at what's happening on this Tuesday, March 12th. Clallam County PUD commissioners issued a formal notice of vacancy to fill a District 3 position on the PUD board back in February. Since that time, they have gotten some nominees who want to apply for that job. They are Phyllis Bernard, Paul Pickett, Kenneth Simpson, and Gary Smith. Now, more nominations will be accepted until 5 o'clock Tuesday, March 26th. Nominees should submit an application by the deadline, and the instructions for which can be found on the PUD's website. After that, commissioners could appoint an applicant or schedule interviews from a selection of candidates to fill the vacancy for the rest of the unexpired term of Jim Waddell, who passed away last month. It runs until the certification of the next general election in November. The candidate for the position must be a registered voter living within the PUD's 3rd Commissioner District. A couple of incidents over the past weekend in the Port Angeles Fire Department's ranks. On Friday, about 8 p.m., crews dispatched the report of a vehicle crashing into a building at 405 East Front Street. They found a sedan had run off the road, struck the corner of a garage, and then smashed into the staircase of an apartment building there. Fire officials said only one person, the driver, required medical attention and was treated and released at the scene. The living quarters of the apartments were unaffected by that crash. Then Saturday, fire crews dispatched to a house fire at about 4 a.m. They arrived to find smoke coming from the attic of a single-family residence. The address not given in the report. Firefighters let themselves in, able to quickly put out the fire, search the building, and confirm that no one was inside. Starting today, travelers on Highway 101 near Forks will see around-the-clock single-lane alternating traffic, the work zone, at the Jefferson-Clallam County line south of Forks. Contractor crews are installing temporary traffic signals which will alternate traffic through the May Creek work zone. The temporary traffic signals have red, yellow, and green lights. They work just like real traffic signals in town. Drivers will see one-way alternating traffic at the location at least through fall of 2026. They'll reduce the speed limit through there to 25 miles per hour as well. The temporary changes will keep people moving while crews begin the process of excavating the entire highway for a fish barrier removal project there. Crews will build a 175-foot-long girder bridge to replace an outdated culvert under the highway. The Washington State Patrol's memorial service for fallen trooper Christopher Gadd is happening today. The event at the Angel of the Winds Arena in Everett. The service is open to the public with a ceremonial procession preceding that memorial. It is tentatively scheduled to start at 11 a.m. Doors into the arena will not open to the public until noon, and that ceremony expected to start about 1 this afternoon. Gadd was struck and killed by a suspected DUI driver on I-5 in Marysville on March 2nd. Probable cause documents said the man accused, Raul Santana, had bloodshot eyes and admitted to drinking and smoking marijuana before driving. Gadd had been with the Washington State Patrol for 2.5 years. In other news, westbound I-90 closed near North Bend last night due to a massive RV fire and exploding ammunition. Eastside Fire and Rescue wrote on X, formerly Twitter, about 8:30 last night that the fire was reported at an RV on the westbound side of the highway. Fire crews are keeping a distance because ammunition is exploding. It's unclear what actually caused the fire. Fire crews did not specify what kind of ammo was actually exploding. The RV was unoccupied and no one was injured. A Chehalis youth detention employee has been arrested and is accused of conspiring to commit a prison riot. The woman is currently being held at the Lewis County Jail, roughly a mile from the Green Hill School, a youth detention facility run by the Department of Children, Youth, and Families for the state where she worked. Few details of her arrest have been made publicly available, but a spokesperson for DCYF confirmed that they were aware that their employee had been arrested. Her arrest is the latest in a growing number of blunders from inside Green Hill that have become public knowledge. Earlier this year, Fox 13 TV reported on 2 separate investigations into other employees. One was caught on camera dropping drugs into the facility, while a second brought weed-infused gummy candy into the facility before placing it in a locker that inmates have access to. As a growing number of renters in Washington face eviction, the state will soon fund more attorneys to help tenants at risk of losing their homes. When updating the state's 2-year budget last week, lawmakers approved about $3 million in additional funding for the Office of Civil Legal Aid's Right to Counsel program, which guarantees low-income tenants the right to an attorney as they navigate the eviction process in court. The funding will allow the office to hire 10 more attorneys, reaching a total of 80 statewide. They'll handle cases across Washington, particularly, though, in the corners of the state with the highest eviction numbers, the Seattle area, Clark County, and Spokane County. A 74-year-old Mercer Island man who went missing over 2 weeks ago was found killed in Grays Harbor County, about 100 miles from where he had been last seen. 74-year-old Curtis England had been missing since February 24th when his roommate filed a report with the Mercer Island Police Department. The roommate stated that he had been acting unusual, according to police reports. England was later found dead of a sharp force injury to the neck in Cosmopolis. The King County Medical Examiner's Office, the agency that confirmed his homicide, did not know where or when he was killed. A Washington State Ferries crew Saturday helped the Coast Guard rescue 6 people and 2 dogs from a boat in Rosario Strait in the San Juan Islands. A 37-foot cabin cruiser called for assistance during nasty weather near Decatur Island about 1 p.m. A wave over the bow shattered that boat's windshield, injuring some of the boaters and caused the vessel to take on water. The boaters were able to share their GPS position before their radio shorted out and they lost communications. The Coast Guard issued an urgent marine broadcast message for all boaters in the area, and before the Coast Guard got there, the Washington State ferry Samish responded and launched its rescue boat. 4 boaters were taken on board the ferry, and the ferry used its size to shield the damaged boat from the wind and waves until it could get under tow. An avalanche forecaster died in a snowslide he triggered while skiing in eastern Washington this past week. 37-year-old Nick Burks and a friend, both experienced in carrying avalanche airbags and beacons, were backcountry skiing the chute on Gunsight Mountain. That was last Wednesday near Anthony Lakes Mountain Resort. His friend skied down first and watched as the avalanche was triggered and overtook Burks. The companion was able to locate Burks by turning on his transceiver. People at the ski lodge saw the avalanche happen and immediately told first responders. The agency said in a statement on Facebook the bystanders were performing CPR on Burks as deputies, firefighters, and search and rescue crews got there, but the efforts to revive him were unsuccessful. This is Newsradio KONP.
Rev up your engines, Port Angeles. First Race Car Wash is where premium Shell gas meets the ultimate car pampering experience. Swing by our convenient location for an upgraded car wash experience that'll leave your ride gleaming. Fuel up with Shell's finest and treat your car to the TLC it deserves. First Race Car Wash in Port Angeles. You're a winner every time when you've got that first race shine.
Have you been searching and searching for anyone to install, repair, or replace your windows? What about looking for someone to install a new exterior door? And what about a skylight? Or a new glass shower enclosure? Or even a glass railing system? It can be hard, if not near impossible, to just get a call back. We at Hart & Nagel Building Supply sympathize with just how difficult it can be to get fast and dependable glass services. It's why we created our newest division, Hart & Nagel Glassworks. With over 80 years of combined experience, our team is ready and excited to help you on your next project. Whether it's big or small, residential or commercial, installation or repair, we can pretty much handle anything related to glass. Contact us today at 360-417-8388 or at hbsglassworks.com. Angeles Millwork and Hart & Nagel Building Supply, building homes, building community since 1906.
Adopt US Kids presents What to Expect When You're Expecting a Teenager. Learning the lingo.
Today I'm going to help parents translate teen slang. Now, when a teen says something is on fleek, it's exactly like saying, that's rad. It simply means that something is awesome or cool. Another one is totes. It's exactly like saying, totally, just shorter. As in, I totes love going to the mall with Becca. Another word you might hear is jelly. Jelly is a shorter, better way to say jealous. As in, Chloe, I am like so jelly of your unicorn phone case.
You don't have to speak teen to be a perfect parent. Thousands of teens in foster care will think you're, rad, just the same. To learn more, visit adoptuskids.org. A public service announcement brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, Adopt U.S. Kids, and the Ad Council.
All right, let's get you updated on that weather forecast. And rest of today, looking for mostly sunny skies. Could get a little bit windy at times. We're going to hit about 48 for the high today. Tomorrow, cloudy and 48 as well for the high. The overnight lows about 35 tonight into tomorrow. Then we get into a bit of a sunny streak coming up for Thursday. Sunshine, highs of 50, lows at night 36 under mostly clear conditions. Thursday night clear and 39. Friday will be sunny and 55. Friday night, mostly clear, about 44 for the low. And Saturday, more sunshine and 57. Sunday's looking sunny as well with 58 and sunny on Monday, 55 and sunny on Tuesday. Partly cloudy sky on the way for Wednesday next week with 50. And again, partly cloudy next Thursday, a week from Thursday, and 46 as we look at the extreme extended forecast. Currently out there right now, we have partly cloudy skies across the North Peninsula. It's 43 in Port Townsend. Out west at Forks, it's also 43. It's 48 in Sequim, 46 in downtown Port Angeles. And right now at Fairchild Airport, they just hit 50 degrees.
Septic Myths and Facts, Volume 3.
I use an additive to help my septic system work better.
Washington State doesn't recommend you use any additives in your system. There's no evidence that they improve the life of a septic, and some can even be harmful.
But how do I know if it's working or damaging my system?
By having regular inspections. A list of licensed inspection professionals is available at Clallam County Environmental Health's website at clallam.net/septic.
Your community-minded friends at First Fed bring you the Community Corner, highlighting good things happening right here in our area.
Steel Magnolias returns to Olympic Theater Arts in March. Loved by all, Steel Magnolias embraces the charm of Southern comfort. It's about love, family, and big hair. Sure to sell out. Get your tickets for Steel Magnolias at olympictheaterarts.org. That's olympictheaterarts.org, or by calling the OTA box office Tuesday through Friday. And on March 16th, get ready for a flippin' good time at the Kiwanis Club of Port Angeles' St. Patrick's Day Pancake Fundraiser. It's being held at the PA Senior Center March 16th from 9 a.m. to noon. Not only will you enjoy delicious pancake breakfast, but your participation will contribute to various community initiatives and projects spearheaded by the Kiwanis Club of Port Angeles. The St. Patrick's Day Pancake Fundraiser, March 16th at the Port Angeles Senior Center.
Community Corner, presented by First Fed.
The electric stove, the refrigerator, the vacuum. All advances in technology that had a profound impact on society. But the creation of one specific device brought the world together. And you're listening to it. With the invention of the radio, advertisers soon realized the power of marketing to a mass audience. And one advertiser took advantage of radio's true strength. On Christmas Eve, 1926, the first radio jingle was broadcast. And soon, the struggling Washburn Crosby Company and their little cereal became the most popular brand in America. Since then, advertisers have used jingles and radio to stay at the top of your mind. And you have the chance to do the same. Make that lasting connection with your future customers. Call 457-1450 to find out how affordable radio really is and how easy it is to be a part of it. Radio Pacific, a multi-station radio network.
Ever wonder how the credit card companies make their money? Well, think about this. If you owe $25,000 on 5 different credit cards and you make your minimum payments every month, here's what it's going to cost you. Are you sitting down? You'll shell out over $13,000 in additional interest, and it's going to take over 13 years to pay off your original $25,000 balance. That's how they make money. Now it's your turn to fight back by calling the Debt Solutions Network. We'll work on your behalf to reduce your debt. We specialize in credit cards, retail store cards, and medical bills. We promise we can and will reduce your debt. Call right now for a free 15-minute debt analysis.
800-932-5112. 800-932-5112. 800-932-5112. That's 800-932-5112.
Newsradio KONP Business.
This is a Bloomberg Money Minute. Minutes ago, ahead of Wall Street's closing bell, and stocks are on track for sizable gains. The S&P on pace for a fresh record closing high. Right now, the Dow up 0.7%, almost 300 points. The Nasdaq up 1.5%. The S&P's up 1%. Even though inflation rose by more than forecast last month on higher prices for housing, airfares, gas, clothing, and used cars, investors feel it's not enough to make the Fed change course on plans to cut interest rates later this year. The big gainer, shares of software giant Oracle up 12% thanks to a boom in its cloud computing unit. Shares of Southwest Airlines, though, down 15% after cutting its flying capacity for the year, halting most new hiring, and reworking its routes. It's blaming Boeing for pushing back deliveries of new 737 MAX jets it ordered. And TikTok's Chinese owners say they'll stage a blistering legal challenge before considering selling off the app if Congress passes a bill tomorrow to ban it in the U.S. Tom Busby, Bloomberg Radio.
Let's get a last check of the noontime road and traffic conditions, brought to you by Olympic Medical Center and McCrory Carpet One.
In an emergency, every second counts. That's why at Olympic Medical Center, our emergency department is here for you 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. But we understand that emergencies can be overwhelming. That's why we've created 3 helpful videos to guide you through the process. Learn about emergency room wait times, understand trauma care, and discover how to be prepared for your visit. All at olympicmedical.org/ER videos. Olympic Medical Center, caring for you when it matters most.
McCrory Carpet One is part of a 1,000 store co-op. That means you get the competitive pricing of a big box store, but with a superior installation. Their team of professional installers are all employees who live here on the peninsula. Their installation teams take pride in their work because they know they're working for their neighbors and friends. Local craftsmen helping local people. Experience the difference. Always priced right and always done right at McCrory Carpet One.
Newsradio KONP, Traffic and Roads.
Out to Clallam Transit Dispatch Center we go one last time this hour. That's where Steve's standing by with a check of the roads for us. Good afternoon, Steve.
Hi there. Hey, good afternoon, everybody. Yeah, kind of a busy afternoon out there if you're out and about. Fair amount of traffic right now, both Port Angeles and Sequim, especially east end of Port Angeles, coming into town on both First Street and Front Street, and equally as busy along Washington Street, especially when you get towards the Sequim Avenue area. So just be prepared for a little bit of slowdowns out there. If you're on the highway between the two cities, it is busy, but moving along at the speed limit. Beyond Sequim, we're doing good. Hood Canal Bridge is still scheduled marine openings, and looks like state ferries are running on time today. West End traffic, 101's in good shape all the way out to the Forks area. A little breezy out there, a little busy with traffic as well. It is moving at the speed limit, but just be careful on your way out. Just watch for any debris that may or may not be coming down out of some of those trees out there, so just be careful. So this is Steve reporting live from Clallam Transit for KONP.
Hey, thanks, Steve. What they know could cost you. A New York Times report shows cars made by General Motors that use the OnStar roadside assistance service may be sharing data about people's driving habits with a clearinghouse that partners with insurance companies. ABC's Derek Dennis tells us it comes at the cost of everything, just as it's all going up price-wise.
Nationwide auto insurance rates are up 26% this year, rising 6 times faster than overall inflation. The increase is blamed on several factors, including the rising cost of car repairs. But now you can add another factor, the possibility of insurance companies tracking how you drive.
That announcement of Best Picture at the Oscars Sunday night didn't feel quite right to some, so Al Pacino is speaking out about it. More from ABC's Jason Nathanson.
10 wonderful films.
When Al Pacino presented Best Picture at the Oscars Sunday, the moment seemed odd and hurried, and many speculated that perhaps Pacino forgot to read the list of nominated films and producers before abruptly announcing the winner in a somewhat anticlimactic fashion.
And may I see Oppenheimer?
In a statement from his publicist, Pacino says he didn't flub anything. He was simply following directions. He says he didn't omit the names. It was a choice by producers not to have them said again since they were highlighted individually throughout the ceremony.
The singer of 70s and 80s pop rock hits, Eric Carmen, has died.
His wife confirms a report in Variety, the showbiz publication, that Eric Carmen, lead singer of All By Myself, Hungry Eyes, other hits, and frontman for the 70s band Raspberries, has died. He was 74. Chuck Sievertson, ABC News.
In 1994, automakers first began equipping all cars and trucks with the so-called black box. We were told that it would collect only accident and engine performance data. But after 30 years, today, it's a whole different story. I'm Kim Commando, brought to you by T-Mobile. Their advanced network now goes farther than ever before. Visit T-Mobile.com/55 today. It was only a matter of time before car manufacturers realized the information stored by your car's black box is valuable. Instead of recording only accident and performance data, today's cars are equipped with EDRs, event data recorders, and EDRs keep track of everything. It knows when you're speeding, hard braking, and rapidly accelerating. It automatically and wirelessly reports everything to data brokers like LexisNexis. This data is turned into your driving risk score that is sold to your insurance company, who might use it to raise your rate. Is this an invasion of your privacy? Of course, but it's not illegal. Sign up for my free newsletter at getkim.com. When hiring for a small business, you want quality professionals who are right for the role and your team. That's why I use LinkedIn Jobs. LinkedIn Jobs has the tools to find the right people for your team faster and for free. LinkedIn is not just another job board. You get access to LinkedIn's vast network of more than 1 billion professionals, many of whom you won't find anywhere else. That's why it's simply the best place to hire. LinkedIn does all that while making the process simple and intuitive. Hiring is easy when you have that many quality candidates. In fact, 86% of small businesses get a qualified candidate within 24 hours. LinkedIn knows that as a small business, you might not have the time or resources to spend on hiring. That's why LinkedIn is constantly finding ways to make it simpler, like the new feature to help write job descriptions. Post your job for free at linkedin.com/Kim. That's linkedin.com/Kim to post your job for free. Terms and conditions apply.
Some people dealing with obesity may be more at risk than others for certain life-threatening conditions. I'll tell you more after this.
Give the star in your life the brightest gift in the world. Name a star after them. This is Rocky Moselle with International Star Registry. For $59 and a call to 800-282-3333 or visit starregistry.com, you can name a star for birthdays, weddings, or even memorials. Over 45 years, we have named millions of stars for celebrities and individuals from around the world. The star you name will be recorded in book form in the U.S. Copyright Office. Visit starregistry.com or call 800-282-3333.
Offer not valid in all states or where prohibited by law. Loans are subject to lender approval. See website for details.
Honey, the credit card bill came, and we're maxed out.
Maxed out cards, rent is due. We just need some extra cash to help us get by.
Maybe we should go to 27cash.com.
With our bad credit?
27cash.com is one of the largest personal loan networks. They can help people with any type of credit get up to $5,000, and cash can hit our bank account as soon as tomorrow.
When you need extra cash, go to 27cash.com. That's 27cash.com. 27cash.com.
Those with obesity due to lifestyle factors may be at greater risk for certain life-threatening conditions than those with obesity due to their genetics. We know that behavior plays a role in our weight, but it is not the entire picture. Things like environment and hormones are also involved. It is well known that the condition of obesity is a chronic condition with causes including genetics, environment, behavior, metabolism, hormones, and medications, some of which are needed for other conditions but can lead to weight gain as a side effect. Obesity is not due to poor willpower or lack of effort. Finding a doctor who's board certified in obesity medicine can be a great resource for managing this condition and losing weight safely. With Your Body, I'm ABC's Dr. Jennifer Ashton.
My name is John David Carpton.
Dr. Kimberly Stegmeyer.
Dr. Edith Perez.
I'm a medical oncologist.
And I focus on cancer prevention.
People are always asking me,
why? Why do I do this work?
2 words come to mind for me. One is responsibility. The other is purpose.
There was a child that, I took care of and adored, and she said to me, Dr. Kim, will you remember me forever? Sorry. It's been a hard year.
Every day I think of the faces of patients when I see their smiles, when I tell them that new treatments are helping their lives.
It's just so inspiring to do research that impacts human lives.
Stand Up to Cancer has been a critical partner in advancing research for cancer.
Cancer research saves lives.
So please help us fight in this battle against cancer.
Be a part of the team that ends cancer at standuptocancer.org.
Rely on us for complete news coverage. We're Newsradio KONP, Port Angeles Squim, a Radio Pacific station.
From ABC News, I'm Michelle Franzen. The Pentagon says new military aid is heading to Ukraine. That money part of a cost savings found from previous aid packages.
The U.S. is sending a new $300 million security assistance package to Ukraine. It includes ammunition, weapons, and equipment. National Security Advisor Jake Sullivan says this new aid is possible because of what he called unanticipated cost savings in contracts the Pentagon negotiated to replace equipment the U.S. has already sent to Ukraine.
It turns out we negotiated well. Those contracts came in under budget, so we have a modest amount of funding available.
Karen Travers, ABC News, the White House.
Boeing facing more troubles over quality control issues and failing dozens of requirements in recent audits. And new details are emerging about the apparent suicide of a Boeing whistleblower in South Carolina.
A Charleston police report obtained by ABC News says on March 9th, in a hotel parking lot along Savannah Highway, they found John Barnett's body. He was holding a silver gun in his right hand. A worker had heard a pop from Barnett's vehicle about 30 minutes before police arrived. Police are promising a thorough investigation. Barnett worked for Boeing for 32 years. He had been involved in litigation against Boeing and was deposed by Boeing lawyers last week. Alex Stone, ABC News.
Today, Israeli forces confirmed American and Israeli citizen Itai Chen, one of the hostages held by Hamas, was killed actually in the October 7th Hamas attacks, and his body is still being held by Hamas in Gaza. White House National Security Advisor Jake Sullivan says the U.S. is working to free all hostages in Gaza.
We are working at that around the clock. The president calls me every single day asking me for an update on those efforts, and they continue as we speak today.
March primaries taking place in Georgia, Mississippi, and Washington today, and in Hawaii, the GOP holds its caucus. Those results could give both Donald Trump and Joe Biden the delegates needed for each to clinch their party nomination. You're listening to ABC News.
Imagine it's the final game of the season, but your symptoms of irritable bowel syndrome with constipation, or IBS-C, are making a comeback. What should you do? Keep managing your constipation with belly pain the same old way? Or try getting ahead of your symptoms by talking to your doctor about Linzess, linaclotide. Linzess is a prescription medicine that treats IBS-C in adults. It's not a laxative. It's a once-daily pill that helps you get ahead of your symptoms. It's proven to help you have more frequent and complete bowel movements and helps relieve overall abdominal symptoms, belly pain, discomfort, and bloating. These symptoms were studied in combination, not individually.
Do not give Linzess to children less than 2. It may harm them. Do not take Linzess if you have a bowel blockage. Get immediate help if you develop unusual or severe stomach pain, especially with bloody or black stools. The most common side effect is diarrhea, sometimes severe. If it's severe, stop taking Linzess and call your doctor right away. Other side effects include gas, stomach area pain, and swelling.
Imagine, what could relief from IBS-C mean for you? Talk to your doctor and say yes to Linzess. Learn more at linzess.com or call 1-800-LINZESS.
The State Department says it welcomes the resignation of Haitian acting Prime Minister Ariel Henry amid soaring gang violence. U.S. officials held emergency meetings with officials from Caribbean nations to help chart a path forward, including a transitional council that will govern the country until new elections take place. State Department spokesman Matthew Miller.
It is ultimately up to the Haitian people to determine the future government of Haiti, not to violent gang members, not to criminals.
Data from the CDC indicates there are at least 45 cases of measles across the U.S. in at least 17 states so far this year. Many of those states are seeing measles cases for the first time in years. A deadly house explosion in western Pennsylvania today.
The blast was reported just before 9 in the morning, a house exploding into pieces in Crescent Township, north of Pittsburgh's airport. Firefighters finding the home completely leveled, and then a quick search turning up 2 bodies, a man and a woman, both adults. Authorities say natural gas was found on the property from a private source, along with propane tanks. 2 other neighboring homes were also damaged in the blast, but no other injuries. Derek Dennis, ABC News.
A woman in Nebraska arrested and charged with felony theft. She allegedly exploited a glitch in the software at a gas pump that allowed her to swipe a rewards card twice and get or steal nearly $30,000 worth of gas. It took the owners about 6 months to figure out what happened. Michelle Franzen, ABC.
Give the star in your life the brightest gift in the world. Name a star after them. This is Rocky Moselle with International Star Registry. For $59 and a call to 800-282-3333 or visit starregistry.com, you can name a star for birthdays, weddings, or even memorials. Over 45 years, we have named millions of stars for celebrities and individuals from around the world. The star you name will be recorded in book form in the U.S. Copyright Office. Visit starregistry.com or call 800-282-3333.
Enjoy all the colors of the season with help from your garden friends at Airport Garden Center. Come in and start your fruit orchard now. A large selection of bare root fruit trees have arrived to Airport Garden Center. Oh, how sweet it is. We have so many fruit varieties to pick, including apple, peach, cherry, plum, and more. If you already have fruit trees, it's time to apply dormant spray to kill and prevent insects and disease. And did you know it's time to start your garden seeds indoors? It's true. We have a wide variety of vegetable, herb, and flower seeds, plus advice and supplies to keep your fruit trees and garden healthier for the upcoming fruiting season. You'll also want to ensure your garden is getting pollinated by introducing mason bees. Let our garden experts at Airport Garden Center help get your season started right. Come in and learn more. Airport Garden Center on Edgewood Drive, planting knowledge, growing gardeners since 1977.
KONP News brought to you by RE/MAX Evergreen Real Estate Outstanding Agents. Outstanding results, 457-6600. So far, 4 people say they would like to be the new Clallam County PUD Commissioner for District 3, filling the vacancy made by the death of Jim Waddell. But there could be more applying as well. So far, Phyllis Bernard, Paul Pickett, Ken Simpson, and Gary Smith have filed applications. But the PUD says they will extend taking in applications until 5 p.m. on Tuesday, March 26th. Information and an application available at clallampud.net.
Here's your News Radio KONP forecast. Chance of rain showers this afternoon. Otherwise, cloudy skies with a few peaks of sun. Highs level off around 48. Winds out of the west, 8 to 15 miles per hour. Slight chance of rain showers tonight. Lows dip down to about 36. Partly cloudy skies. Daytime highs approaching 48. Tomorrow, overcast skies. I'm weatherology meteorologist Paul Trombley. Currently 48.
It's the Todd Ortloff Show on News Radio KONP. Now, here's Todd.
Hey, welcome once again to the show. The first part of the program today, we're going to be talking about those of you who live in Fire District 2. Clallam 2 Fire Rescue is going to be asking for something from you at the ballot box in a few months. And to tell us all about it, we have the Chief of Fire District 2, in Chief Jake Patterson. And Jake, first of all, thanks for coming down.
Thanks for having me.
This is an issue, a couple of issues we've hinted at. We're probably coming. Here we go. This is the fire. You're going to go to voters and ask for a couple of levy measures, essentially.
That's correct.
And that's in August, right?
Yep.
Okay.
On the August 6th ballot, the Fire District is going to have 2 propositions. Proposition 1 is a fire levy lid lift, and then Proposition 2 will be the establishment of an EMS levy.
All right. We're going to spend a few minutes talking about what each of those are. I think some folks may be surprised to know you do not have in your fire district an EMS levy. Most others have one. You do not.
Yes, Fire District 2 is one of 3 public agencies in Clallam County that has an advanced life support program and are trauma verified through State Department of Health. But we don't have an EMS levy. It's been funded solely out of the fire levy since it was created. The ALS program was created in about 2012.
Explain for folks why that is. I mean, and maybe what an EMS levy is, because I think people may get confused because both of these are levies. They're called levies. One's a lift of what's already there, and one's going to be a new one. But how you differentiate it. If you have an EMS levy, what does that mean for your funding mechanism and your budget, and maybe how it affects the other levy too, for that matter?
Most agencies, the fire districts, are able to levy up to $1.50 per thousand of assessed value on property. Right. And that's just a standard fire protection district levy. And most agencies, when they start providing an ALS level of service and do that transition like our fire district did in 2012, where we went from an all volunteer response force to started hiring career staff because of call volume and need, and to start the ALS program, most agencies do that after they complete or get a successful EMS levy, or like the city has a Medic One utility. There's usually a voter approved initiative that gets that through. Based on the need, the fire district saw that trying to be very frugal and realize that the needs of the community, they don't want to overburden them with a tax. It was started using existing funds out of the fire levy, which obviously immediately puts a big constraint on what that fire levy was initially designed for. As more and more, as the program goes more and more over the years, more funding from that levy is meant to pay off EMS or pay for the EMS level of service. So fire districts have the ability to enact or put to the voters approval for an EMS levy. And per Washington state law, it's designed specifically only to fund EMS operations. It can't be used for whatever we want it to. It specifically has to go to EMS. And
so in theory, I mean, you can carve back then some of money that's been going to pay for EMS, if this is approved, that's going to pay for EMS services can be used then back in the regular fire levy.
It can, and that's kind of why they're both being presented as the levy lid lift and the EMS levy, because the EMS levy would then take on the burden of paying for the EMS program, and the funding from the fire levy will go back to funding fire apparatus, fire equipment. And I think everybody can understand those last several years with inflation, the cost for all those keeps exponentially going up, and the fire district is no different than everybody out there in the public. Our costs keep rising as well.
I talked with you up at the home show about this part too, is that it was just 2020 when you had a levy lid lift approved. A lot of folks might say, boy, that seemed like that was fast. Explain a bit about kind of the realities of things that have happened since the last time we were having this discussion.
The reality is that when we sat down for our levy lid lift in 2020, we kind of looked at the next several years. And one of the goals of doing this is to not overburden the public with a bunch of levies every year to fund operations year by year. So you kind of try to project out, okay, if we pass a levy, it'll probably be 4 to 6, 7 years before we have to ask for another levy lid lift. But I don't think anybody in 2020 or when the decision was made in late 2019 could have predicted the large increase in inflation and the cost of goods, services, and everything that has occurred. And so the voters in 2020 approved a levy rate of $1.36, and that levy rate has shrunk down to 96 cents per thousand of assessed value.
Explain how that has happened.
Well, it's Washington State has one of the most complicated property tax laws out there. And so one of the issues that the fire district specifically faces is we have a 1% limitation on how much more revenue we can collect from our levy. Everybody throughout the year gets their property assessed values, and they go up by 5, 10, 15, 20% or higher. And that doesn't mean that your fire levy goes up by that same amount. Your fire levy only goes up by 1% year after year. So we cannot keep pace with inflation. The revenue generated from the levy, the spending capacity shrinks year after year. And so if you were paying $1.36 in 2020 for your fire levy, you're now only paying 96 cents because we can't collect more than 1% from each property owner. So the rate goes down. So that's how we see it shrink back down. And then every so often, fire districts will come out and request to the voters to approve a levy lid lift so that we can bump back up.
A lot of this would be solved if you were allowed to, like the old days, go 6%. And you used to be able to do basically 6% per year, right?
Exactly.
With the limitation. Not that you always took that, but you could take that.
No, and the fire district went decades without a levy lid lift because the Washington State did allow a 6% increase. And so if the inflation was 4%, the district could raise its revenue from the levy by 4%. And so you were able to keep pace with inflation in the price of goods and services. And so you didn't have to go back out to the voters so often. But in Washington State, the voters decided to limit that to 1%, which, is that participatory government. And so that's why you see...
It's what we said we wanted.
And that's why you see these things on the ballot.
So I'm sure you get this question. Is it, well, okay, well then just cut costs. I mean, is it that easy though? And what I guess, and I know that's on the table, but maybe you can explain to folks kind of what you're dealing with in the need for this lid lift, and it's not maybe as simple as lining out items.
It's hard being in a public safety environment because you have to kind of run it like a business, but it's not a business because there are things that you can do in a business to cut cost, increase production, increase charges and stuff like that we don't have the ability to do as a public entity. And so when prices go up, we just have to absorb that cost into the current revenue. We do have an ambulance transport fee. And part of our EMS levy, if successful, would restructure that to give a benefit to those taxpayers within our fire district. But we really don't have the ability to, like a company, change productions, reduce costs, close factories, because Really what it boils down to is if we get to that point, that's closing fire stations, laying off personnel, and so those personnel aren't there for the critical role that they play in the community.
The reality of this, too, is you have paid professional staff now. I mean, it used to be eons ago, it was all volunteers. Do you think, I guess ultimately could go back to that, but is that even a sustainable model in this day and age to provide, fire and medical service in a place like Clallam County?
Well, I was told not to say this, but the reality of this, when we're trying to figure out how to explain this to people, a 1% limitation is not it's not self-sufficient. So with a 1% limitation, it's designed to eventually creep down to the point where, you will have to have start service cuts. It's not a sustainable funding model, hence the request every so often for a levy lid lift.
It's tough for us, I think, as residents, though. We want to call 911 and make sure something's going to happen. There's that part of it as well. So, I mean, I get it. I live in a rural area. I'm in the district, so this is going to affect me personally as well. So, but I think we've maybe have become accustomed to a certain level of service in places. I mean, that.
Exactly.
I think there's a reality there, isn't there, Jake? I mean,
we like to say we're a small fire district with a big responsibility, and we are. Fire District 2 provides an advanced life support ambulance service, just like they receive in the city of Port Angeles. Fire District 3 and other communities around the state without an EMS levy. So we have a large responsibility, and the public has become accustomed to seeing those ambulances, those fire engines, and getting a great response. But times are challenging. As you said, we've transitioned from an all-volunteer response to a combination. We're using career and volunteers, and even volunteer recruitment is struggling.
Right. And call volume is significantly higher than, every year. We talk about this a lot. I mean, even year over year, but I can't imagine, if you look at a 10-year spread, how busy the fire district is.
Exactly. And so what we look at is from about the time we started 2012, when we the need for the transition to a combination department using career and volunteer firefighters, we've seen a 63% increase in our call volume. But that, if you go back to 2010, there was a large significant increase, which caused the decision to hire career staff. So if we go back to 2010 and 11, we've experienced a 103% increase in call volume.
Wow, that's amazing. Yeah. And a lot of that's growth in the area. I mean, you've got a lot more people here. We have an aging population here. I mean, there's just a lot of factors that play into those numbers.
Yes, the aging population, I think everybody can see in the media and the news the opioid crisis, and that impacts every emergency response agency in the state and the nation, actually. So, we were seeing more and more call volumes. Last year, we were 6 calls short of 2,000, which was an all-time record for the fire district.
That's amazing. So, is your district a more expensive one to run just because of its geography and how it's laid out? I've always asked this. I don't know, and comparatively speaking, I mean, it's probably apples to oranges when you start looking at other fire districts, but I'm always kind of wondering if that's part of, you have some added cost because of just getting from one end to the other.
It is. And I mean, everybody can look at the fuel pumps. Our fire engines, our ambulances, those calls, since we have an 85 square mile coverage, larger fire districts like Fire District 3 and Fire District 2, a lot of the fire districts in the county have large service areas for their citizens. And so that is driving point A to point B. Gas goes up, insurance goes up, wear and tear on vehicles goes up. And then for goods and services, everybody on the peninsula probably realizes that sometimes when you need specialized services, they have to come from out of the area, which causes more increase in the cost of getting those services.
We've talked about equipment replacements and some things like that as well. That's kind of, I mean, it's part of this, but this is also, that's a separate conversation as to what you're asking for in this.
It's part of it. We do still need to replace equipment. It's a replacement cycle. In the last 2020 levy, we started dedicating funding to an equipment replacement plan. We were able to buy a new fire engine to replace one that's now 33 years old, and a new water tender that is now 30 some odd years old, 31 years old. And so we were able to purchase those, but with COVID, the water tender's been delivered and we're undergoing training with that. The new engine should be here this summer. But one of the issues that we ran into was that inflation. So while we were able to buy a new fire engine and a water tender, the prices have gone continually up. At one point, all the neighboring fire agencies are purchasing new fire engines, and comparing notes back and forth. The price was going up $10,000 a month for a fire engine.
My goodness. So in a year, it's $120,000 if it stayed at that pace, basically. Yeah, more than you would have at the start of the year. That's the reality of what's out there right now.
Yeah,
and it's a specialty item as well.
And then one of the items people talk about, well, don't buy such a fancy fire truck. And we've actually asked the vendor that we were purchasing our fire engine from, how much for a stock, walk onto the lot and go, I want that fire engine. And we were quoted a price of $680,000.
Oh, my goodness.
So it's not like we're buying super Uber machines out here with all the bells and whistles on them. We're just buying what we're needed to do to accomplish our mission, but the price has gone exponentially up.
All right. Before we get you out of here, let's talk about what this ask means for a typical homeowner. Kind of break down those numbers for us, if you will, when this goes out. And we'll be talking more about this, obviously, as it gets through the summertime. But
yes, I'm sure.
First blush, what are we talking here for typical homeowner?
For the fire levy, we're asking for a levy lid lift up to the $1.50, which is going to be a 54-cent increase. And so what we're looking at is, on a $300,000 home, it's about $162 a year, or $13.50 a month. Okay. If you're in a $500,000 home, it's going to be $270 a year, or about $22.50 a month. The EMS levy is only 50 cents. That's the maximum an EMS levy can be. So same thing, $300,000 home, you're about $150 a year, and then a $500,000 home, about $250 a year. So
potentially an extra $400 a year on a $500,000 home, if I read that right?
Yes.
Okay.
And the goal of both of these is to kind of not come back to the voters for several years.
My next question is this: your hope is that this might stay put for a while?
We've got we've got big plans, and the district continues to grow. We need to expand our services to the west side of the district more. Currently, our fire district only has 2 people on 24/7. And then they're backfilled with volunteers. The West Side Fire Station is only staffed Monday through Thursday from 7 a.m. to 6 p.m., and we would really like to get that to 7 days a week. Mm-hmm. But we have big things on the horizon, replacing fire stations that are over 65 years old and don't have living quarters in them. So there's some big projects that we have facing the future.
One last note on this. There are 2 thresholds on this, because one you got to get a 60% yes vote. The other one is a simple majority. Explain that.
Yes, the fire levy lid lift requires a simple majority, 50+1, to approve it, because it's an existing fire levy that has been in effect. The EMS levy, since it's new, requires a 60% supermajority to get it enacted for the first time. It's a 10-year levy. So if in the course of that 10 years we need to do a levy lid lift, it would be a simple majority. But at the end of that 10 years, it comes up for reauthorization by the public. It's not permanent.
And that was a good point. I should have pointed that out too. That's one that does have to get a renewal every decade or 10 years.
That's correct. It's not a permanent levy. It expires in 10 years.
All right, Jake. It's out there. People can think about this, but I'm sure there's going to be a lot more information coming out, and we will be talking about this, I'm sure, some more as we get a bit closer.
Yep, and we've got information on our website, and everybody feels free to call me if they have any questions, and I'd be happy to answer them.
All right, we take a break. We'll get caught up on a couple of commercial words. We'll be back with more on our program right after this.
I understand that as our world becomes more automated, receiving personalized service from a real person is more meaningful than ever. I'm Dan Shappy, and as a farmer's agent, I know a thing or two about how to help you select the insurance you want so you can
protect what matters most.
Call 360-681-0696 to learn more and chat with me, a real person and experienced farmer's agent, today.
We are farmers. Bum, ba-dum, bum, 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 bum.
Underwritten by Farmers Truck Fire Insurance Exchanges and Affiliates. Products not available in every state.
Red Carpet Car Wash in Carlsberg is always adding to the list of things they provide to keep your vehicle looking brand new. The full detail shop is just one more service to check off that list. Not only will your interior and exterior shine, your engine will sparkle too. Red Carpet is also getting some winter upgrades, including new equipment in the manual bay and new vacuums. Call Kyle today and let him get you scheduled for your red carpet treatment Tuesday through Saturday. 360-461-0826.
It is really good to know that you have a neighborhood auto parts store right in Sequim and ready to help. A1 Auto and Marine, locally owned since even before the bypass. The A1 team prides themselves on locating hard-to-find car and truck parts. But if the parts are not immediately in the store, they often can be in the store early the next day. Find the experts at A1 Auto Parts in Sequim to keep you and your vehicle right on the road.
Bathfitter does showers? That's right. We offer a wide selection of beautiful and functional showers. We can even convert your bath into a shower. With our seamless one-piece walls and hundreds of design options, you'll get a beautiful new shower guaranteed for life. Bathfitter's been around for 40 years, and we've been experts at showers for just as long. Bathfitter, it just fits.
Right now at Bathfitter Northwest, we pay your sales tax. Just call 800-NEW-BATH. OAC, see store for details.
Olympic Peninsula Title, the name you've known for your full title and escrow services, offers contract collection. Let Olympic Peninsula Title process, collect, and disperse funds with your private party loan. Find out more about this service and how it can work for you. OliPenTitle.com. Olympic Peninsula Title. Title, escrow, contract collection. Olympic Peninsula Title. The Next Door Gastropub has been a staple in downtown Port Angeles for over 12 years. Jacob Oppelt, owner of the pub, tells us why he loves owning and operating a business in small-town Port Angeles.
Yeah, it's all about the community, Steph. We've thrived by providing our locals with an atmosphere based around top-quality cuisine and service. At the Next Door Gastropub, you not only enjoy great food, but you feel welcomed by our family here. We appreciate you and will continue to support the community that's done so much to support us.
The Next Door Gastropub in downtown Port Angeles.
All right, so we're going to take a break, get caught up with some news at the bottom of the hour. Up in our next segment, we're going to get a little recap of things that happened or didn't happen related to public safety and drug task forces and things related from Clallam in the last legislative session, and Olympia, I should point out, as we welcome in Clallam County Sheriff Brian King in our next segment right after this.
This is the Todd Ortloff Show on Newsradio KONP.
At McCrory Carpet One, they know how important it is to feel confident in your flooring selection. You want to know it's going to look exactly the way you want it once it's installed in your home. That's why they offer their one-of-a-kind guarantee, making sure you're 100% happy that the floor you've created together is as beautiful as the one in your dreams. If not, they'll replace it for free. That's what they call the Beautiful Guarantee. Peace of mind is yours with every installation. Always priced right, always done right. McCrory Carpet One.
When temperatures drop, energy bills increase because of heating costs. For customers with electrically heated homes, the PUD offers instant rebates to help you pay for eligible ductless and variable speed heat pumps, which offer efficient heating in the winter and cooling in the summer. The instant incentive for ductless is $800 for homes that are replacing electric resistance heating. For variable speed systems, the instant incentive ranges from $250 up to $1,000, depending on what heating equipment that you currently have and what equipment you're going to install. Visit ClallamPUD.net for more information.
For the Washington State News Network, I'm Rob Francis. A Renton business owner who was reported missing in late February has been found dead in a cemetery in Mexico. Reina Hernandez left her home to run errands on February 26th and never returned. Renton police detectives learned a body had been found at a local cemetery off the Tijuana Highway, and it was later identified to be that of Hernandez. A 61-year-old Renton resident is in custody in connection. If the homicide happened in the United States, authorities could seek to extradite. $7 million in federal money being used to help fund the first phase of the Upper Wenatchee Watershed Community Lands Plan. Trust for Public Lands consultant Peter Dykstra said the funding marks the beginning of a project that's been in the works for some time.
It's really sort of an initial opportunity to implement what the community's been thinking about on these lands for a number of years, and we're really excited by it.
Washington's U.S. Senators Maria Cantwell and Patty Murray and 8th District Congresswoman Kim Schreier announced the funding in a news release yesterday morning. And President Joe Biden signed a spending bill allocating a record annual budget of just over $3 billion for the Hanford nuclear site. Senator Patty Murray, who was chair of the Senate Appropriations Committee, played a key role in advocating for the record budget. The funding is crucial for environmental cleanup efforts at Hanford and supports cutting-edge research at the Department of Energy's PNNL lab in Richland. For more on these stories and others, download the WSNN mobile app. You can also visit our website, WashingtonStateNews.net.
Here's your News Radio KONP forecast. Chance of rain showers this afternoon. Otherwise, cloudy skies with a few peaks of sun. Highs level off around 48. Winds out of the west, 8 to 15 miles per hour. Slight chance of rain showers tonight. Lows dip down to about 36. Partly cloudy skies. Daytime highs approaching 48. Tomorrow, overcast skies. I'm weatherology meteorologist Paul Trombley. Currently 48.
All right, next segment, my guest is Brian King. He is the sheriff for Clallam County. We got him in to get a little bit of a take on what happened or didn't happen in the just completed state legislative session. And there was a lot that had to do with public safety and a lot of revisits of things that have happened over the past few sessions as well. And Brian, first, it's great to have you back. Thanks for stopping by.
No, thank you, Todd.
You were just remarking with me that it's kind of a strange time because you're still trying to sort through maybe what really happened, what didn't, what money was there, what isn't. So the ink isn't quite even dry on a lot of this stuff yet.
Yeah,
so.
yeah. Some of it's exciting, some of it is not so exciting, and it's really trying to figure out everything that did happen in the legislature for me right now. Every week I meet with the Sheriff's Association. We go through, okay, this is what we believed happened this week. This is what we think may happen next week. And then the session comes to a close, and then we learned what really, truly did happen. Mm-hmm. And so that's where I'm at right now.
So let's just tick through a few things. One, I think that everybody was watching a lot. That had to do with the police pursuit action. Your thoughts on how that ended up in the, where it's at now, and did it have, or does it have much of an effect on what happens with operationally for the Clallam County Sheriff's Office?
Yeah. So there was a Senate bill, and then there was a companion House bill. And the Sheriffs and Police Chiefs Association sponsored those. Those were put in there. But then we always knew that we had this initiative in the background, 2113, and we knew that there was a lot of support for that initiative. The other two bills were really tied to a whole lot of technology. What would have been nice for us to be able to, locally to get some of those dollars to expand our programs. So that's really where my focus was at, was like taking, number one, we need to bring back pursuits. We've seen what's happened with public safety. But number two, we'd also like to have some additional funding to be able to perform these more safe.
And specifically, I know you put a press release out when this initiative was passed, which was one of three that the legislature just pushed through as presented, about just that. When we talk about technology, maybe and maybe even for a rural type, office like yours, tell us what what that means, and if you could have a couple of extra dollars for it, what it would be used for.
So we were looking at a lot of drone technology, and we continue to still go there. Neighboring Jefferson County has a really, really state-of-the-art drone where we've used it in a couple of pursuits, a couple of even foot pursuits to apprehend suspects with that, and basically it takes very little. There's plenty of room for operator error in the fact that technology, once you lock into a fleeing vehicle, the drone stays with the fleeing vehicle. So that's just one area that we looked at. And then, everybody's kind of familiar with air tagging. And so there's technology out there where patrol cars can launch a tag onto another car, and then we can track them via GPS. And so we don't have to worry so much about.
It's going to be an electronic pursuit, basically.
It's an electronic pursuit, right? And so there's a lot of technologies that are out there being explored, and we're always moving forward here in the county, and so I was hoping there's not a lot of extra dollars when you look at the county coffers for reaching out and getting that, and I think our state has an obligation to support us, especially if they're advancing many of the laws that they did in the past 3 years.
Mm-hmm. A lot of people, they hear about this technology thing. They think, well, constitutionally, how does that work? I get the drone thing. I think, that's no different than you in a patrol car behind me, I think, in a lot of ways. But like the tagging and things, does that require some, court approval and things like that? I mean, how would that go down? How does that happen?
We believe that probably the threshold would be probable cause.
Okay.
So if the probable cause existed, the burden of proof that I need to, in effect, a lawful arrest. So if I had the evidence that says, hey, I've now got, the ability to make a lawful arrest on the violator, then I can employ that type of technology.
It kind of goes back to what the original pursuit argument was, probable cause, right? When we went back to, 3 years ago.
Probable cause, and then we kind of pulled back last year and said, okay, reasonable suspicion, the standard that says, it's likely that criminal activity is a front, and now we've got back to back to exactly where we were.
Exactly. Yeah.
Even as a county, to where the new law really mirrors what our policy was prior to all this craziness. And so, I think that our legislature, especially here in the 14th district, they all supported the initiative. But I also think at the same time they knew that the public's desire was to give the tools back to the police, and we're seeing that now.
Okay, so now that this is goes into, I guess July is when it officially becomes the old way, I guess might be a way to put it in this. What does that mean for your officers or your deputies out there then? How does that change for them operationally?
So, we're back to the drawing board, and that was part of my work today, and will probably be part of our work for the next month is there's a lot of policy refinements that we have to do now. Mm-hmm. So a lot of revisions. And so but it's something we've been used to the past 3 years. And so we need to make our policies legally defensible. We need to give our deputies clear instruction and guidelines. And so there is some nuances in the law where we're really looking at, what that weight is, where does the weight and how is that weight given for the dangers of the pursuit versus the dangers to the public if we don't apprehend the suspect. And so PERC, which is a research forum for law enforcement executives, has done a lot of study on this as of late, and actually came up with some matrix work on, okay, here's the balancing test for you. And so I look to them a lot to look for, I don't ever believe in reinventing the wheel, and I want policies that are legally defensible, so how they're working for other jurisdictions. So we're already gathering that because we want to make it easy for our deputies to make decisions.
And that was my next question is that, ultimately, one of the problems, I think, even with the revision of the revised law from a couple of years ago was it still required so much superior check-in. By the time you got full, sign off on a pursuit, it wasn't probably didn't need to be pursuing because the person was so far gone.
Yeah, and certainly the original version of the pursuit law was simply you had to have supervisor approval. Well, in order to even engage in the pursuit. Well, in order to do that, you can be in the pursuit in the first place, and the car goes away. So it just really took away the ability to pursue. But then they said, there was a revision that said, okay, as soon as practical. And we have all that same language in the new pursuit law that still exists, as well as training requirements upon us. EVOC every 2 years. Each deputy who engages has to be trained in a certain number of pursuit intervention techniques. And so the minute a pursuit is initiated, we have to be looking for a way out of the pursuit, and that's with some type of intervention technique. And so that's your spike strips, stop sticks.
Right. But, your agency has already did that, though. Yeah. I think that's the crux to this in a lot of ways. I think pretty much the North Olympic Peninsula has not had a problem because those were already policy in their individual departments. It's been maybe some other agencies that didn't have those that were causing the issues.
And if our legislature would have focused on accreditation, and they would have said, hey, we just want to professionalize policing, incentivize accreditation, because everybody here on the peninsula is accredited. And so that makes us work seamlessly together because we're adopting policies that are so so similar in construction that, you know, a PA officer can work right with the sheriff's deputy, and we know that they're going to be operating the same. Same goes for the SQUIM police and the sheriff's office. And so
you're going to be stopped, but, you know, here's a simple thing, though. You can stop a car thief now, though, come with this now re-implemented. That was a problem before. I mean, you couldn't necessarily engage a car thief.
And that was, you know, that was probably our biggest talking point was look at the increase, you know. Yeah, at one time we looked at our numbers here in Clallam County, and there was a 300% increase in just little Clallam County alone. And that represents a jump where, you know, we were just having, you know, you might have a handful of cars stolen a month, but now we were seeing 300% increases in that. We had cars, you know, stolen vehicles flee us. We had more vehicles that actually fled than ever before in our history. Yeah. And so the sheriff's office in a typical year, pre-ban on pursuits, you know, we'd have 6 pursuits a year. That would be it. And you might still discontinue half of those. You know, I've been in several pursuits over my career, and most of them I discontinued. You get to the lake and it's sharp corners, and they start cutting corners, and you don't want a vehicle to go head on to another vehicle. You discontinue. You utilize your radio to call ahead, and somebody may resume it up in the future. But you don't just say, "Hey, we're letting this offender go."
Yeah. All right. We'll see how this all happens come this summer. Then we'll get back to how it was at one point. Drug task forces. This was a big thing. We've talked with you in the past about this. This goes back to some funding issues that basically it's federal money that's administered through the Department of Commerce here in the state of Washington. They made a decision that money that normally had gone to like the OPNET, the Olympic Peninsula Narcotics Enforcement Team here, was going to go somewhere else. And you all were going to have to find some new ways to fund things. So that, of course, you took that to the legislature. It was a part of a lot of a talk. In fact, the governor even had proposed money for this. So it looks like we were just talking before we went on the air that about $2.7 million is what it's ended up coming your way.
Ultimately, right? $2.7 million was infused into the current budget. That was about, I believe in the end we lost about $2.9 million with the burn jag dollars. So we're a lot closer now. So as far as the operation of our task force, yes, we will continue on.
Okay.
Those are really important dollars for us. The Senate wanted to support us with about a $4 million budget proviso, and the House looked at about $2 million, but I think, you know, they came together in the end. They agreed on this budget, and that will allow us to continue for another year. We hope, you know, and you know, next session that we'll have a real conversation about the fentanyl crisis and say it's going to take more of an investment in order for us to work through this problem than it is to like just maintain the status quo. Because what we can't do is we can't increase our efforts right now based on our limitations on funding.
Right. You're status quo. I mean, you're going to have same number of officers, same number of effort that you can do at this point. Then,
yeah, small group with legal challenges. And we actually face some real financial challenges here. We just had to lay off our one of our analysts because even though we had some dollars to float us into this year, we're a few months short. You know, they gave us enough dollars to operate for 6 months, but we're right into that operational point where we're operating for 9 months, and we got to wait for July in order to to potentially see these dollars. So we're.
Yeah, this was the short session. This was a supplemental session. This is always tough to get new dollars in general. I think, as you said, that when you get to the longer session, you can start giving a little bit more narrative and maybe perhaps set some longer term ideas about this.
Yeah, we got excited when we saw the $4 million in the Senate, and we could do a lot with the 14 or the 16 task force across the state with even an infusion of $1 million more dollars. I mean, there's a lot of efforts that we could have done in a short period of time, but we just didn't get across the finish line.
You're probably happy though in the fact because just maybe 4 or 5 months ago we were sitting here talking about we may not have an OPNET,
absolutely,
because all of the money was going to go away.
I mean, it's definitely a sigh of relief, and the fact that legislators were listening to all of our pleas, whether it be pursuits. We are a little disappointed with recruiting and retention dollars that we were fighting for, and that's a problem across the state. None of those conversations got out of committee, but certainly we're still going to be having those conversations and pursuing that as well.
I want to talk a good chunk now about this Office of Independent Prosecution. I've talked with our prosecuting attorney, and he certainly has an opinion about it. This will be the first time I think I've had a chance to chat with you from the law enforcement side of this, as to this idea, this stand-up of an office through the Attorney General basically becomes a special prosecutor, if you will, that looks specifically into use of force, deadly force for that matter. That's the first definition of it with law enforcement. So your take on that, I already know what the prosecutor thinks about it, but what does the sheriff think about this?
And Mark and I have talked about this a few times, but I think it's a highly unconstitutional bill, or even thought to push forward. I think in the end, I'm not sure that it will ever get launched off the ground. I think it's more political than anything. It's almost like going to the office of the sheriff and trying to eliminate that as a constitutional office. I look at the Office of Independent Investigation and the cost to the taxpayers. That investigative arm still hasn't even been launched. They're not even taking cases, and they have a budget of around $80 million. I can't imagine that you're not going to take another. So when we're fighting over $2.7 million to fund task forces, and then we're adding another state agency and then another state agency, I go like, I think our money's better spent, and I trust Prosecutor Nichols to make the right decisions. He's elected by the people of Clallam County to make those decisions, and he makes them, with a lot of care, and for the Attorney General to be able to take that discretion from all elected prosecutors across the state away, I don't think would be. I don't think it's going to happen, and it's certainly, fortunately, I think it'll come back.
Yeah,
but it didn't get off the floor, I think.
Let's take us through, from your perspective. You have an incident, a deadly shooting of some sort. What happens on the Clallam County Sheriff's side of this if it involves one of your deputies?
It's extremely complicated, and you got to break out the rule book, and I've got a matrix in order to try to dissect what the law says. But essentially, if we're an involved agency, and you could have multiple involved agencies in an application of deadly force or officer-involved shooting, and we're immediately firewalled from the investigation. And so we're a part of an independent investigation team that's comprised of Clallam County and Kitsap County. So we all, if there's a shooting in Kitsap, we go over.
You're investigating
and
it, right?
And investigate that independently. The involved agencies are firewalled, and vice versa occurs here. And we saw that occur on Priest Lane when we requested State Patrol SWAT come into the county when we had an active shooter at a residence there. Ultimately, it involved in a deadly force application. And so now you have the State Patrol firewalled, and we're firewalled simply because we decide, we're involved in this as well. And so then you have Kitsap County coming over and conducting the investigation. Now with the Office of Independent Investigations, there's a legal requirement for us to notify that office of the incident that could trigger their ability to come in and to trump our investigation. Assert complete and utter control over the investigation when you already have an independent team there on the ground, and take the investigation. So there's so much duplication of effort that just complicates the whole system when you're trying to seek transparency. Now, I believe that if you would infuse those dollars into your independent investigative teams that exist around the state, that have all the expertise and training that we follow LATAXA, which is the Training and Community Safety Act, ensuring that they're there certainly isn't a duplication of effort, that there certainly isn't any conflicts of interest, and we're very careful to make sure that it not exists, then, the taxpayers just shouldn't be bearing that huge burden.
Yeah. It is interesting. $80 million. Haven't done a case yet.
Yeah, $80 million. And then I look at all of your sheriff's office budget, including the jail, including the patrol, 105 employees, and we sit between $16 and $17 million every year for a big operation. I look at this operation that is not remotely close to functional yet, and saying, like, I anticipate that there will be a close look when we go into budget next year, and there might be discussions about this very topic.
It's certainly, and it's also an election year, so things tend to change depending on who's where at the time. There's the musical chairs change by the time we get there as well. Interesting take. I was curious how the sheriff felt about it. The prosecutor also had spoke to how he thought you might feel about it too when he was on earlier. Let's talk about regional academies and some funding for that. You alluded to this a little bit, but I know you're big on training. I mean, you've even alluded to it in some of what we've been talking about so far.
Yeah. So the regional training concept is pretty exciting, and so right now we have traditionally have always had the Burien Academy, and that's basically where the Training Commission is headquartered, and where most 90% of all basic training occurs in the state. And then we had a small regional academy in Spokane County. They run one class, and it's usually for the Spokane area agencies, and it's basically a satellite class. Well, that concept of having to, produce more police officers, because we're way behind in meeting the demands of our state, there's been an investment in some regional academies. And so Pasco PD partnered with the state and just opened a regional training academy. There is dollars in this current budget for Kitsap County for a study to explore Kitsap County. Okay. And what we originally thought would be a regional academy in Skagit is probably going to end up in Whatcom County. But these are all big pluses for the sheriff's office and just for law enforcement in general. And
these would run, I'm not going to say concurrently, but at different times. So I'm assuming, the plan would be you could get this so they're staggered enough that you could get, officers into training at various times.
Yes. And so the challenges, for the state and for the Basic Law Enforcement Academy in Burien, you want to staff these academies with TAC officers that are within the profession, and the lack of officers in the profession right now. Clark County, Whatcom County, Yakima County, they're not going to be able to live without their police officers to send them to Burien. So if we begin to take these academies to the communities that can actually staff them and then train their own officers, it's a win-win model. And these are models that have occurred across the nation. It's just finally that we're
why is it that Washington State just has the one academy? Because I've been in other states and there are 3 and 4 sometimes.
And there's different paths to certification as well, and the Training Commission never wants to hear this, but California, there's community college programs. Texas has community college programs where you have a central training commission that ensures accreditation and compliance, and all the curriculum is aligned. We can do that as well. You can do that regionally as well. There's been a lot of discussion amongst the sheriffs in our state when it comes to the Corrections Academy, because we're 2 years out on a wait list.
You're woefully behind, right?
We're woefully behind, and so here in Clown County in our jail, we're investing in creating our own little mini academy. It doesn't mean that we are still not relieved by RCW from actually sending our people to Burien. We still have to check that box, but at least we're not putting them in our jail doing a job and waiting 2 to 3 years even to get into an academy.
That's just amazing. Because at that point, you could turn over your entire staff just in the waiting period of it.
Absolutely.
I hate to say that, but
there is, through this last session, there is another 10 classes that the state is going to offer. But it's in Burien, so where everybody's competing, all the sheriffs are competing to get their corrections staff trained, and that'll be about another 300 officers. And so, but we're like, bring it to us, bring some of this to us, and so we can, and we'll help.
Will you, if this gets implemented, maybe this is a good way to leave it, I guess, is how will that make it faster for you to get a road deputy on if you had a Skagit County, for example, I'm just picking a place, but something closer.
Absolutely, because really systems-wide, you're building capacity. And so now when you apply, and this is the application process right now, now you're competing for any open spot, whether it be in Pasco, whether it be in Spokane.
Right. Yeah, so you could say, hey, new deputy, you're going to go to Pasco because we tomorrow have an opening there.
There's an opening there, and you've been on the waiting list, and your number's being called, and so it's just bringing capacity to the system. We've sent deputies to Spokane for classes.
Right. This is a hang-up. I mean, we talk about not enough law enforcement trying to recruit. That was a whole other issue we didn't really get into, but this is another part of the problem, though, right? Because once you find them, you got to get them certified. You got to get them trained.
And what's and give them the skills to be safe on the job, and we stress that a lot. But too, it's administratively there's such a greater burden on the office, because the state tells us you must have your recruit attend basic training within 6 months of employment, and the same people who are statutorily responsible for providing it, we're the ones who have to report to them and say we weren't able to do it because you wouldn't give us a class, and so we need you to work with us. So there's really a catch-22 to this whole system, and everybody knows that it's broken. But I will say that there was what was a lot of effort in this session to begin to make.
That sounds like maybe we're getting in the right direction with it. At least
there was a lot of defunding occurring over time, dollars being redirected out of policing, out of recruiting and retention, out of basic training, all these different things, and we created a crisis in our state.
Yeah.
We're trying to
I think, those politicians heard from a lot of constituents who are saying, we don't kind of like this, what has been happening so much.
Yeah,
put it back at least a bit.
Yeah, and we saw that pendulum shift, and we've never been about, we want standards for our police officers. We want all these things. We want to live up to the expectations of our communities, but work with us and help us find that balance, because we're here to listen, and we were just talked at and told what to do, and it became frustrating.
All right. Brian King's always great to talk to you. Thanks for stopping by.
My pleasure.
Appreciate it. I know you're still trying to sort it all out. We'll talk again soon, maybe with even more information. Brian, of course, the sheriff for Clallam County. We're going to take a break and check in with the news coming up next.
I understand that as our world becomes more automated, receiving personalized service from a real person is more meaningful than ever. I'm Dan Shappy, and as a farmer's agent, I know a thing or two about how to help you select the insurance you want so you can
protect what matters most.
Call 360-681-0696 to learn more and chat with me, a real person and experienced farmer's agent, today.
We are farmers. Bum, ba-dum, bum, 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 bum.
Underwritten by Farmers Truck Fire Insurance Exchanges and Affiliates. Products not available in every state.
Red Carpet Car Wash in Carlsberg is always adding to the list of things they provide to keep your vehicle looking brand new. The full detail shop is just one more service to check off that list. Not only will your interior and exterior shine, your engine will sparkle too. Red Carpet is also getting some winter upgrades, including new equipment in the manual bay and new vacuums. Call Kyle today and let him get you scheduled for your red carpet treatment Tuesday through Saturday. 360-461-0826.
Hello, this is Amanda Huff with Swim Valley and Harper Ridgeview Funeral Chapels. I'd like to take a moment to tell you about a new, exciting, and environmentally friendly development in the funeral industry. It's called Natural Organic Reduction, or simply terramation. Perhaps you've heard of it. Terramation is a process in which the body, after death, is returned to the earth in a carbon-neutral, eco-friendly manner. The process takes place in a controlled environment, and all that remains is a natural, odorless, compost-like material. If you'd like more information about terramation and advanced planning, Call us today at Harper Ridgeview in Port Angeles or Sequim Valley Chapel in Sequim, and one of our knowledgeable and caring funeral professionals will assist you in answering your questions. Harper Ridgeview and Sequim Valley Funeral Chapels, because your loved ones deserve the best.
We're the talk of the peninsula. Newsradio KONP, Port Angeles Sequim, FM 101.7 and 101.3, a Radio Pacific station.
From ABC News, I'm Michelle Franzen. U.S. troops on their way to the Middle East. The 500 Army soldiers will build a floating pier off the coast of Gaza, all to boost food and other aid to Palestinians dealing with famine due to the Israel-Hamas war. ABC's Ann Flaherty is in Newport News, Virginia, where they shipped out.
They're going to be unrolling these large shipments of aid, about 2 million meals a day. They're going to be delivering to the Palestinian people there. They say that the White House would prefer that Israel to open up those ground checkpoints, but they haven't so far. The humanitarian crisis there has grown dramatically in recent weeks. So this is their next best option.
The U.S. today announcing $300 million in military aid to Ukraine using unused and unexpected funds found from previous contracts. National Security Advisor Jake Sullivan.
We can move this stuff fast. We have proven that over time. We have built a logistical pipeline and backbone to be able to do that.
The latest package will contain artillery and rocket launchers. Special counsel Robert Hur today testifying before the House Judiciary Committee and defended his findings in the classified documents case involving President Biden. Hur says politics played no role in his assessment about Biden's memory and age or decision not to charge Biden. ABC's political director Rick Klein has reaction.
Democrats are saying there's a double standard in only looking at Joe Biden and focusing on his age and his gaffes and not looking enough at Trump. Republicans saying there's a double standard here in charging Donald Trump for his handling of classified documents and not Joe Biden, even though they are very, very different circumstances.
Consumer prices rose at a faster pace than expected last month, up by 3.2% in February. Inflation not cooling fast enough for single mom Teresa Johnson in Grand Rapids, Michigan.
I'm living paycheck to paycheck because it's so hard really to save.
Consumer prices, one factor the Fed board will use to decide when to start lowering interest rates. You're listening to ABC News.
Imagine getting ahead of your irritable bowel syndrome with constipation or IBS-C by treating it with Linzess. Then you could start proactively managing your constipation with belly pain and get ahead of your symptoms. Talk to your doctor about Linzess, linaclotide. Linzess is a prescription medicine that treats IBS-C in adults. It's not a laxative. It's a once-daily pill that helps you get ahead of your symptoms. It's proven to help you have more frequent and complete bowel movements and helps relieve overall abdominal symptoms, belly pain, discomfort, and bloating. These symptoms were studied in combination, not individually.
Do not give Linzess to children less than 2. It may harm them. Do not take Linzess if you have a bowel blockage. Get immediate help if you develop unusual or severe stomach pain, especially with bloody or black stools. The most common side effect is diarrhea, sometimes severe. If it's severe, stop taking Linzess and call your doctor right away. Other side effects include gas, stomach area pain, and swelling.
Imagine, what could relief from IBS-C mean for you? Talk to your doctor and say yes to Linzess. Learn more at linzess.com or call 1-800-LINZESS.
A former employee of an NFL team sentenced to 6.5 years in prison. That after pleading guilty to stealing millions.
Amit Patel blamed a gambling addiction for stealing $22 million from his employer, the NFL's Jacksonville Jaguars. Prosecutors said he transferred more than $20 million to FanDuel and DraftKings accounts and used the rest on other expenses, including nearly $600,000 at Apple. The 31-year-old was also ordered to repay $21 million in restitution.
ABC's Brian Clark. In California, Scott Peterson, convicted 2 decades ago of killing his wife and unborn child, in court today for a hearing requested by the lawyers with the LA Innocence Project, who claim there's evidence he did not commit the crime.
Good morning, Mr. Peterson.
Back in court remotely from prison nearly 20 years after he was convicted of murdering his wife Lacey and their unborn child, Scott Peterson was on Zoom looking older, his hair pulled back in a ponytail, as attorneys for the LA Innocence Project argued they should get access to evidence and do DNA tests on that evidence. Paula Mitchell from the LA Innocence Project.
The nature of the request, it's not a fishing expedition.
The judge set future hearing dates to decide if they can get evidence and if they can do DNA testing. Alex Stone, ABC News.
No big winner in yesterday's Powerball drawing. That means the Powerball jackpot is now $599 million. The next drawing is tomorrow night. I'm Michelle Franzen, ABC News.
Give the star in your life the brightest gift in the world. Name a star after them. This is Rocky Moselle with International Star Registry. For $59 and a call to 800-282-3333 or visit starregistry.com, you can name a star for birthdays, weddings, or even memorials. Over 45 years, we have named millions of stars for celebrities and individuals from around the world. The star you name will be recorded in book form in the U.S. Copyright Office. Visit starregistry.com or call 800-282-3333.
KONP News brought to you by McCrory Carpet One. Always priced right, always done right. It's McCrory Carpet One. A Chehalis Youth Detention employee has been arrested and is accused of conspiring to commit a prison riot. The woman currently being held at the Lewis County Jail a few miles from Green Hill School, a youth detention facility run by the state where she works. Few details of her arrest are being made publicly available, but a spokesperson for the state confirmed that they were aware that their employee had been arrested. Her arrest, the latest in a growing number of blunders that have come from inside Green Hill that have become public knowledge recently.
Here's your News Radio KONP forecast. Chance of rain showers this afternoon, otherwise cloudy skies with a few peaks of sun. Daytime highs approaching 50. Winds out of the west 8 to 15 miles per hour. Partly cloudy skies. Tonight, slight chance of rain showers. Lows dip down to about 36. I'm weatherology meteorologist Jennifer Wojcicki. Currently 52.
Live from the headquarters of Ramsey Solutions, it's The Ramsey Show, where we help people build wealth, do work that they love, and create actual amazing relationships. Dr. John Deloney, #1 best-selling author and host of the extremely popular Dr. John Deloney Show on YouTube and podcast, is my co-host today as we answer your questions about your life and your money. Open phones